All right, this video is going to talk about some parabolas with vertex form and standard form, finding the vertex and just kind of doing a basic sketch. This is actually some stuff that we did first semester, so hopefully, fingers crossed, this might be a little bit of review. Okay, vertex form of a parabola looks like this. And in that form, the vertex can be found as point HK. Now notice it says minus H, but we write positive H, and it does says positive K, and we write positive K, so we're only changing the sign on the H. The axis of symmetry, well, if you think of a parabola, I'll just draw it like this. The parabola looks like this. The axis of symmetry is this line that cuts the parabola in half. So you could fold it on that line and everything's going to match up. And you can find it by writing the equation. It's going to be vertical line x equals h. Now you can actually turn the parabolas right and left by switching the x and y, but we're not going to get to that. Okay, so the vertex, we're going to go through here. The vertex is the opposite of what's in the parentheses, so it's going to be -5, and then the same as this number, -4. That means the axis of symmetry is going to be x equals -5. Now, we're going to find out if that vertex is a maximum or minimum. Well, let's think about the graph. We are not going to plot points, and I don't even have a coordinate plane on here for you. So -5, 4. Well, it's going to be negative and down. Let's call it here. Because the leading coefficient, this a, it's an invisible 1, is positive, it's going to be opening up. So we'll draw our graph this way. That's all I want you to do with the sketch. Just have a general idea of where it is. This vertex here is at the bottom, and everything everything is above it. So that means this value is the smallest number, or it is a minimum value. Okay, let's do this again for number 2. The vertex, this negative in front doesn't do anything to the vertex. So the vertex is +2 because you change the sign of the x, but keep the sign of the y, -6. The axis symmetry, x equals 2. Now we're going to sketch it. Well, 2, -6, we'll say is here, but because this leading coefficient here is negative, that means that my graph is going to be opening down. So here's my sketch. Because this vertex right here is the highest point on the graph and everything is below it, that makes it a maximum value. All right, let's take a look at number 3. Number 3, we've got this extra 3 in there right here. This 3 does not affect the vertex at all. So the vertex is going to be +8 because it changes the sign of what's in the parentheses, then 2. The axis of symmetry is x equals 8. If we are graphing it, now this +3 is going to make the graph climb faster, so it's going to be skinnier. So it's going to be tall. Well, I can't really get taller because it's going to go on forever, but it's going to seem taller but be skinnier. Okay, we're going to start at the point 8, 2, which we're saying it's here. And instead of doing our normal one, we're going to make it a little skinnier. Okay, because this point or this vertex is the bottom point and nothing lower, that is the minimum point. Last but not least, the next one, the vertex is going to be -7, 3. The axis of symmetry is x equals -7. When I go to graph it, the 1/4 does not change the vertex, but the 1/4 says it's going to grow slower, so it's not going to move up as fast, which means it's going to be fatter. So I've got the point -7, 3, and I'm going to draw it fatter. Now, before we finish, this point is, I did that wrong. Let's take 2. Because it was a -1/4, it's going to get fatter, but it's opening down. Okay, because that vertex is the highest point on there, then that is a maximum value. All right, now what I didn't draw was the axis of symmetry, but x equals is a vertical line. So this line right here would be x equals 8, and it would fold the graph in half over that line. You don't need to draw it. I just want you to know where it was. Okay, well, what if the parabola is not in standard form? Then how do we find it? Well, to find the x-coordinate of the vertex, it's going to be the opposite of b over 2a. So if you remember, the number in front of the x squared is a, this is your b, and this is your c. So first we need to find the x coordinate. So the opposite of b would be negative 2 over 2 times a is 1. So this is negative 2 over 2, which is just negative 1. So my x coordinate is negative 1. What I now need to find is my y coordinate. So I'm going to take that negative 1 and plug it in. So I have negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 7. So this is 1 minus 2 minus 7. Well, negative 2 and negative 7 is negative 9, and a positive 1 would be negative 8. And that's your vertex. Okay, let's try it again on number 6. This is your A, this is your B, this is your C. So the x-coordinate is the opposite of B, which would be positive 8, over 2 times A, which is 2. So that's 8 over 4, which simplifies to 2. So your vertex is going to be 2, comma, and now to figure out the y, we're going to take this 2 and plug it back in. Every time I see an x, I have 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 minus 6. Okay, little mental math. 2 squared is positive 4 times 2 would be 8. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16 minus 6. Well, 8 and negative 16 is negative 8. Negative 8, negative 6 is negative 14. And that's your point. Now, we're not graphing them, so it doesn't matter whether it fit on a graph or not. Totally irrelevant. Okay, number 7. The vertex is the opposite of B, so that's positive 10 over 2 times A, which is negative 1. So that's 5 over negative, just kidding. That's 10 over negative 2, which is negative 5. So that is the x-coordinate of the vertex. Now we're going to take it and plug it in to find the y-coordinate. So it'd be negative times negative 5 squared minus 10 times negative 5 plus 11. Now, if I ignore this negative that's outside, the negative 5 in the parentheses is positive 25, but the opposite is negative 25. Over here, negative 10 times positive 5 is positive 50 plus 11. Negative 25 and 50 is 25 plus 11 would be 36. All right, one more. To get the x-coordinate, it's going to be the opposite of b, which is 12, over 2 times a, which is negative 3. So we have 12 over negative 6, which is negative 2. So your x-coordinate is negative 2. What we need to find is the y-coordinate. So I'm going to take that negative 2 and plug it in. So I have negative 3 times negative 2 squared minus 12 times negative 2 plus 5. Little mental math. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. Positive 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Watch your signs. Negative 12 times positive 2 is positive 24 plus 5. Negative 12 plus 24 is 12 plus 5 would be 17. And there's your point. That's it.